Welcome in, everybody. It is Tuesday night, which means one thing and one thing only. It is time for the Fantasy Cheat Sheet presented by Going for Two Live on YouTube, Twitch, and everywhere you can stream. But before we get into the AFC and NFC South edition of the show, it's time for the intro.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is up, everyone? Like I said, it is the AFC and NFC South edition of the Fantasy Cheat Sheet. We got the guys, Jamie, Jordan, and Reggie here, along with me. Drop the mic, FF. What is good, guys? How's it going?
It's going great, man. I had a fun time at the expo in Canton this weekend. I met my host right here, Mike. It was a great time.
What's up, Jordan?
It's good, man. I'm going through it right now. My son is starting kindergarten tomorrow, so I'm like, it's a big time in the Arsenal household. So I'm looking forward to that. A little nervous, but excited at the same time. But I'm ready to talk some football.
And Reggie, I know you're ready to talk football. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing okay. Just like it never fails until you get on a podcast with awesome people like yourself. You guys check the Going for Two Discord, and you end up on the clock. Like people ain't picked in 5 hours, and then in the last 45 seconds, 5 picks run off. Other than that, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Mike.
All right, so before we get into it, I just want to say one thing about what Jamie brought up. This weekend was the expo. It was a great time in Canton. I literally just walked in the door a few minutes ago from the expo, but it was a great time. Saw Jamie, saw some other people in the industry. But now that weekend's over, it's time to get ready, dive in hard into the season, and we're going to do that with the AFC and NFC South preview. Before that, we're going to get into some of the news. Honestly, some of the news I didn't realize even was a thing until I got off the plane. And one of those, because I was so out of it, was the first one we're going to bring up. I did not know till an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, that Jahmyr Gibbs got hurt. So Jahmyr Gibbs has a grade 1 hamstring strain. I got the grade 1 from Jesse Morse on Twitter, he was the one that did the injury panel at the expo.
Yeah,
smart guy. So he was there. He said that he actually deals with some of the NFL athletes. He just can't say who, but he knows his stuff. Grade 1, probably going to be held out for all of training camp. Hopefully he can be back in week 1. Jamie, big deal, little deal, you know the question.
Yeah, I mean, hamstrings can linger all through the season. I was already high on Montgomery. I just don't know how far I could even move him up. I mean, we've seen he can be a top 10 guy, even with the 60 to 70% of snaps. I mean, I could see him getting more workload when Gibbs is going to be out. So yeah, I think it's kind of a little bit of a deal.
Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think for somebody like Gibbs, who relies very heavily on his speed, I think that something like this can linger, like we always talk about with hamstring injuries. We're getting closer to the season, so last week anybody who was hurt, it was like no big deal at all. But as we get closer, and these injuries start to happen for people, it becomes more and more of a deal for him. It's a grade 1, so that it could last, a couple weeks, could not. So we'll wait and see, but I think it becomes a little bit of a deal. And I wish I had a lot of Montgomery last year. Don't have hardly any of them now. But as more drafts start to pick up, I assume he's going to be rising ADP wise.
All right, Reggie, what do you think about Gibbs, real quick?
I think by the dip on the injury, it's a hamstring grade 1. And there's a reason why David Montgomery has a role on this team, and it should not affect the cohesiveness that they have for each other. I had the privilege of grabbing them both a lot last year. I don't see it as too much of a problem because he's managed. He's on a pitch count as it is. He'll still be. I think he'll be okay. I hope.
All right. So for the next piece of injury, I'm just going to take the one with a sigh for certain reasons. Dynasty. JJ McCarthy, surgery on his right knee, torn meniscus. I'm going to start with you, Jordan. Big deal.
Yeah. It's a big deal because I mean a knee injury like that. I mean that's serious. Meniscus recovery, 6 weeks sometimes. We like we talked about last week. I know me personally anticipated Sam Darnold starting anyway. I think that this truly kind of cements that obviously, and then if he plays well, he has more room now. I feel like to make more mistakes in the early going and still keep the job because McCarthy is going to still be recovering and whatnot. So I think as far as dynasty wise, though, I don't think it's. I mean, it's no big deal dynasty wise. I mean, he wasn't probably going to play the first 4 games anyway, so now it may be a couple months, but I don't think it's a big deal from that perspective. But as far as redraft, people who were taking him maybe as a second quarterback, you may have to kind of pivot and pick up Sam Darnold instead.
All right, Reggie. He kind of answered the question, but I got a question for you. Yes, JJ's out, but what does this do for Sam Darnold? I know you heard about him in the up in the Bay when he was in the Niners and all that, and even in California being a Cali boy, Mr. Mono Face Cali boy himself. What do you think about Sam Darnold?
We've been here. I'm beating the drum. I've been Sam Darnold over 6 games. I'm the over 75% Sam Darnold owning year. Have one of my most owned players other than Jarrett Stidham. I'm not like pumping my pom poms at an injury.
No,
like
I know you're not.
Like doing a victory lap, but I think Sam Darnold will have a job next year if he performs well this year, and I think he's deserving if he performs well. I'm rooting for him, and I think we've had this conversation before. You are too. So hopefully JJ McCarthy takes this opportunity as he should have been given, get fully healthy, come back. He looked good in the preseason game in limited fashion, looked like a rookie as well. It is what it is. Like, unfortunate, but at the same time, I don't see many quarterbacks come back from a meniscus injury.
Yeah,
no big deal.
So, Jamie, before you give your opinion, I didn't bring this up to anyone off air because I wanted to bring this up on air. I had a situation arise today while I was on the plane coming home. I got off my first connector, and I did not know JJ was injured. And I had a message that says, in my Dynasty League, hey, do you still want JJ McCarthy? And I respond, yes, depending on the price. And then 5 minutes later, I got the alert coming off the airplane that the injury, the surgery. And so I messaged him, and he goes, oh, you saw that. I'm telling you right now, out of that league, I'm probably one of the 3 people that saw that. So, Jamie, are you buying low? If you can buy low?
No, I haven't been on McCarthy at all, even before the injury. During rookie drafts, I was skipping over him. I know he's got that mobility, the agility, he's got the speed. This knee injury is just going to worry me if I have him. I don't know if it's going to affect that in the long run. But yeah, no, I haven't been on McCarthy, and I'm staying away from him for sure now.
Yeah, and the only thing I want to add to it, is Reggie, me and you have talked about wanting, like, yes, I've been in on JJ, but I circled the wagons on 3 games on the 3 games. So that's the weird part. Like, I want him to like do good, but I do agree that if Darnold can do good this year, Darnold will be fine, and I think Darnold can have a career after this season. But
Not with the Vikings. But yeah, I think
yeah, not with the
Darnold
Vikings.
could be-
I'm just saying in
not
the
with the
future.
Vikings.
Not with the
And
Vikings.
prior to the injury, McCarthy was having some footwork issues, some other things I was listening to. Like he wasn't ready, and most rookie quarterbacks aren't.
Yeah. All right, so a bunch of these injuries really upset me. A bunch of these injuries upset me for different reasons. Now, this one just hurts to the core. This one just hurts to the heart. And I saw this injury happen while I was watching the game. Hollywood Brown is out 4 to 6 weeks with a shoulder injury. Reggie, does this do any? What do you think about this injury? I'm just leaving the floor up to you.
It's like Groundhog's Day. It was his foot, his back. I think 0 shares, and I have like 34 teams, and this rises up Rice. This rises up now. Worthy is possibly not sharing a MVS role. Like this makes things more clear for at least the moment, because I hear he had to go to the hospital actually.
Oh
And
no,
they have doctors on site. They have doctors at practice or where this happened at. So
yeah.
This is more noise. I mean, I'm paying more attention to this.
This is more than noise for you.
Yeah.
Jamie, what do you think about Hollywood? I know how you've already felt.
Yeah, I don't have much of Hollywood. I think I looked it up. I got like 2%. It worries me a little bit. It's not really gonna. So if he's only out to week 3, I'm not gonna lower him that much. But what I will do is I'll put Worthy a little bit higher. Today I just drafted Worthy a little bit before I normally would have. But yeah, no, I haven't been drafting Brown that much, so can't really be upset about it.
Yeah. And Jordan, real quick, what do you think about Hollywood? Because I know you were more on the Rashid Rice, right?
Yeah.
Hollywood and Rashid, right?
Yes, Hollywood and Rashid for sure. But now, obviously, like Jamie said, and Reggie, it bumps up Worthy a little bit. And then, it's valuable when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. And we don't know how long Hollywood will be out. He's a small guy. Who knows? But it's one of those things. I think Tyreek Hill had this type of injury. He missed several weeks. So it's touch and go. We'll see. But I definitely think it helps the guys who are healthy right now, pass catching wise.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing I want to say about Hollywood is Jamie, me and you actually talked about this. I mean, before the injury, but we were talking on the patio on Saturday with a couple of guys at draft night out, and we're talking to them, and they were talking about, which one do I think as a Chiefs fan? And I said, honest truth, I want Mahomes, but I'm kind of scared of all of them at their ADP just because it could be one or the other in any day. And now with Hollywood being dinged up, and all the drafts I have left and redraft and everything, I'm staying away from them. So this one hurts because this was one of my rookie guys. Tyrone Tracy, it looked like it was going to be worse than it is because he did get air casted off the field. Now they're saying week to week. Jordan, is it all in on Devin Singletary, or does Tracy still have a chance?
He still has a chance, but when I heard the news about him being air cast, I'm like, well, the season's over. So to now get the news that it's just a low ankle sprain and he's week to week, I think that's like a sigh of relief. I don't think that means he's gonna hop right back on the field. in the next week or two.
Yeah.
But I think this gives Singletary a chance to kind of pull away. Eric Gray looked decent in the preseason, scored 2 touchdowns, caught some passes out of the backfield. So Tracy, everybody was, and myself included, assumed Tracy would just take that number 2 role, but I think it's more of a battle. And now this kind of puts him behind the 8 ball for that role. So that may take longer, if at all, if he usurps Gray for that role by the time the season ends.
Reggie, what do you think about Tracy, and what do you think about the Giants running back hole as a whole?
Eric Gray looked good in that preseason stint, but the people nobody's talking about is Turbo. I'm old school, baby. I'm breakdancing and everything. Dante Miller, I believe his name, has speed that's visibly quick, like speed flowing out of his ears. If you watch I think last round of your drafts, you don't even have to draft him. You can pick him off waivers. I think Devin Singletary, we know what he is. How many touchdowns will this offense produce? I don't know. It's unfortunate, but it seems like it's not as bad as they first thought. And I guess everybody's getting airlifted these days as a precaution. I thought that was more so like a neck or losing function in your appendages and whatnot. But I don't know. I didn't see it. I haven't seen none of this stuff like in real time.
Jamie, what do you think about I actually don't know. What do you think about Devin Singletary, but what do you think about Eric Gray? Because me and you haven't talked about Eric Gray since last offseason.
I like Singletary. Depends on where I can get him in drafts, but I've been more of an Eric Gray as the backup over Tracy. I thought Tracy was going to be more of the special teams guy. So I know Reggie mentioned that Dante Miller, his name's like Little Turbo. He could be interested in, I know he's like a satellite back type. So he might be able to take over the special teams.
Yeah, exactly. I agree about Tracy for sure. Let's see here. All right, let's get right into the good old meat and potatoes of the episode. All right, so it is AFC, NFC South edition. Each of us have 2 teams. We're going to go through, give a couple takes on each team, 1 or 2 takes depending on the team and depending on the gentleman up on the screen. Jamie,
Yes,
you asked for this. You are starting with exactly who I thought. You asked for this team when me and you were talking off air last week, so you take it away, sir.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've been targeting a lot of their players, quarterback, receiver, running back, even tight end really late. But I want to talk about the receivers on this team and where they're going. So like the Bucs, their offense really hasn't changed that much since last season, except they're a little bit older. That's it. So Mike Edwards, Godwin, they're being discounted from last year's production. Mike Evans, he's one of my early round targets. I think he's wide receiver 17 in the ECR. Last season, he was wide receiver 7 overall. So I'm taking a lot of him. I'm getting him in the 3rd rounds of almost all my drafts. Best balls, I even took him in late 2nd round a few times. So I think that's a great value. Godwin, he's more of a mid-round target. I believe he's going around the 7th round, wide receiver 33-ish. Sometimes I even see him fall farther. Last night I was doing a draft. I took him at wide receiver 36 or 37. So he's fallen. I know he had a down year last year from previous seasons, but he finished at wide receiver 30. And now he's rumored to play more in that slot, and that's where he thrives. So if you're getting him at wide receiver 36 and he's going to finish in the top 30, like right there, that's a good value. He's going to return on that investment. I know last year he only played like 32% of snaps in the slot, so that should increase. I know they drafted McMillan, who can play on the outside, so that can leave Godwin open in the middle of the field. But yeah, I love these values. I don't know, are you guys targeting any of these guys in your drafts at their ADP?
Yeah, I'm definitely targeting both of them. Me more so Godwin than Mike Evans, just because of where Godwin goes. There are some other people I like more than Evans at that point, but if he's there, I mean, I'm grabbing him. I'm not against him at all. I like the I. It's just, man, Godwin is not a touchdown guy, but he's had consecutive years of 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
And playing in that slot role, hopefully he can get his touchdowns up to around 5. The last 2 years has been 3 and 2. So if he can get 5, 6 touchdowns, I think that would do more for his overall fantasy production. But getting them where you said, Jamie, around wide receiver 34, I think is good. When you can get a guy 1,000 yards, 5, hopefully 6 touchdowns, that's a good spot.
Reggie,
So
what
would
do
you
you
be
think about it?
happy getting them both on a team? Like
I
if it
would
was a best buy?
I wouldn't be against it.
Mhm.
Reggie, would you want both of them on a team?
I've taken Evans, I've taken Godwin. I don't necessarily want both of them, but I've taken variations of Evans and Palmer or Godwin and McMillan. I'll split it up and go older, lighter,
Mhm.
younger, lighter.
Okay, so me and Jordan have already had part of this conversation off air. I am all in on one of the two, and it's not the one with God and win in his name. It is Evans. Um I maybe I'm wrong. Some of us, I mean, I didn't, but some people thought Evans was going to fall off the cliff last year, and obviously he didn't. Yeah, I forgot if you did or not, and I thought Godwin was going to fall off the cliff last year, and he didn't really fall off the cliff. I'm not all in on him. There's another reason later on in the show that will be brought up why I'm not all in on him, it'll get brought up later. However, I do like what you're saying, Reggie. We're like, go one of the older guys and then go one of the younger guys, especially in Dynasty. In redraft, I'm gonna go with Evans. If I can get I'm not all out on Godwin. I'm out on Godwin at ADP, but if I can get Godwin a little bit lower than ADP, I'm not against taking him.
Yeah. So earlier, I had my queue set up, and for my auto draft, I looked and it took Evans because that was my top guy. But I looked and I saw London was still there. I thought he was going to be gone. I obviously would have took London, but I wasn't mad at it. So Evans over London. I could see a scenario where Evans does finish higher than London.
I could see it. It's
I
right
can see
there.
it. Yeah.
It all depends on the offense in Atlanta because it's some mystery, but I am optimistic on that, which we'll get into because of the offense. But Jamie, Scott Fishbowl rules this year make you want to get a returner. Some guys are really good at return yards, but also have the ability to be a number 2 on their team because the rest of the wide receivers on their team are so-so. Jordan, I love this take. Go for it, buddy.
Yeah, Rashid Shaheed, man. I'm not saying that I'm raising pom poms for him, but I definitely think at wide receiver 55, he's a great value. In this new offense for the Saints, obviously it's Clint Kubiak coming from the Shanahan tree. Uh, Likes to use different motions, get guys in different spots, scheming guys open. Just and now that Michael Thomas has officially just been exiled from the team, they released him. Shaheed is the number 2 behind Chris Olave. That's going to be more concentrated targets between those two guys and Alvin Kamara. Not really a tight end in the mix with Jawan Johnson nursing that foot injury. They have Taysom Hill, who they're going to put in all kind of different places. They're talking about playing him some at fullback, and he's going to probably do the quarterback running stuff and tight end line and all. He's going to do all that. But as far as pass catchers, Shaheed Olave, Kamara, those main three guys. And just looking at some of Shaheed's numbers last year, I mean, he finished with 700 yards, 5 touchdowns. He played 15 games, and he only played 60% of the snap, over 60% of snaps in 5 games. I think now, kind of stepping into his third year, he's established a role for himself. He's going to get more of that snap share. He's going to get more of those opportunities. At times, him and Carr had a wavelength on the deep ball. I just like his opportunity in front of him this year, man. If he can stay healthy, I think I don't see why he couldn't put a wide receiver 3-ish late back in wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 numbers, but you're getting them at wide receiver 55.
Yeah, Reggie, what do you think about Rashid Shaheed?
I like where you can get him at right now, especially in kick return leagues. I think if Olave doesn't take a step forward, there's a lot of meat on the bone to be had here in this offense, and everything is dependent on Carr.
Jamie, what are your
I'm not completely sold on Carr, by the way, but I think when having the things right for him, he can do some. He doesn't throw a lot of touchdowns, the only thing, but he can throw for a lot of yards.
Yeah, so I mean, even last year he was getting 46% of snaps. He was putting up over 10 points per game when he played. So I believe that was like wide receiver 45. So that was last year. So if he's going to get an increase in snaps, his fantasy points per game is going to increase. So if you're getting him at wide receiver 55, I mean, he's going to blow up. Like you said, you could play him as a number 3 receiver. I think he could definitely, even in leagues where you don't get return yards,
Right.
he could be a top 35 receiver. So I like that.
All right, so we have talked about how I do not like. I mean, we're in leagues that have one wide out, one running back, and you have all these flexes or whatever. But I can't stand the leagues that have 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and 1 flex. I'm sick of those leagues.
ESPN.
3 wide receiver at 3 wide receiver at minimum. 3 wide receiver at minimum. Sorry, people.
Nope.
The reason I'm bringing this up is, like Jordan said, I'm not shaking the palm toms thinking he's going to be a top 12 guy or anything like that. But the bandwagon is outside my house waiting for me to jump on it after the show's over. I'm all in on Shaheed to be a WR3 on your fantasy roster. I'm all in on him in, like Reggie said, in funky scoring when it comes to return yards. I will be 100% honest. You guys brought up a name that scares a living beep out of me, and it's a car, and it might have 2 R's. He's not going to, in my opinion, he won't be the quarterback in 2025, Spencer Rattler. But I wishful thinking, I know, Jordan. However, for this year, if he can stay healthy, like Jamie brought up, 40-something% snap share, that to me is going to be in the 60s or 70s this year. They don't have anyone besides Chris Olave and A.T. Perry. Jawan Johnson still on the freaking pup. You got a guy from BYU who doesn't know if he's a halfback, a fullback, a quarterback, a tight end, a center, a guard, or a freaking punt protector. So I'm all in on Shaheed. That's really all I have to say about the rest of that situation. Saints as a whole is going to be an interesting offense, and it might not be interesting in a good way. The team might not be interesting in a good way.
There's a lot of optimism around here, obviously, for the Saints. I mean, Pete Carmichael had overstayed his welcome, so they were ready to get out of here. Fresh offense. It's going to take some time to learn it, but, they have guys like Cedric Wilson lining up at wide receiver who knows the offense, spent some time in Miami. But I think it's Shaheed and Olave as far as wide receivers go.
Yeah. So we have had a theme so far, and that theme is wide receivers of the NFC South, and it ain't changing. The Falcons have a new regime. They got rid of Arthur Smith. Reggie, what do you want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons, sir?
Well, with the injury to, I believe, was it Rondale Moore? I've always had a little spicy take or a spicy uptake on Darnell Mooney as being another option in that offense, but the whisperers that have been whispering and buzzing in my ear, Ray McCloud is now a Falcon and is looking pretty good. So trying to balance in who do we want to possibly get some gains from late in your drafts before it gets too expensive. I like it cheap. I like free 99. Ray McCloud is starting to gather, or my antennas are starting to go off.
Jamie, what do you think?
Do I want the slot receiver on the Falcons? That's interesting, man. I mean, if it's super late, deep league, yeah, I'll take a shot on him.
It's just not the slot. It's number 2. Okay.
So Ray's going to be the slot. That's what he profiles as. Mooney's going to play on the flanker position. So no, it's going to be the number 2. I believe it's going to be Darnell Mooney. I think we're in the Polly's playoffs together. I was targeting him, but then I noticed I had Drake London already, so I was kind of mad that I don't want both of them on my team. So I had to pivot a little bit, kind of upsetting, but no, I want Mooney.
Jordan, what do you think?
Honestly, I don't know if I want either one of them, but if I had to, like in the fishbowl, I took Ray McCloud because of special teams and all that. Now with him getting a role, I think that'll work out. But as far as now, I'm looking at Mooney, but like Reggie said, there are reports coming out that Ray is making plays and making some noise, so he's going to be a part of the offense. I anticipated they wanted Rondale Moore to be a part of the offense, so he's going to take over that role. I'm sure there's little gadget plays, little reverses and all those type of things that they do with little pipsqueak size guys, but. I think he'll provide some value as well. But as of now, I think I might go Mooney, but it's real close.
All right, so I get what you're saying, Jamie, about Mooney being the 2, like the outside, whatever. I think that Mooney could just be doing a lot of 40-yard sprints. Mooney could end up being the cardio guy, and McCloud could end up being the target guy. But here's my spicy take. I think that there's a possibility that there's a wide receiver that's going to have some clout in this offense that is not on the team yet. And his name is going to be Juju Smith-Schuster.
Please, no.
Don't we have a bold take show? I think that's kind of bold.
I think he should just retire.
No. This was just for this one. Wait, you haven't seen me on a bold take show yet. You have not seen me on a bold take show. I'm not saying he's going to be like the number 2. I'm saying he's going to. I think he could end up on the team as a body and steal from the rest of them. That's what I'm afraid of. All right. So for my first one, I want to make sure I got this right. Yes, it is. All right. I did some note taking, boys.
Nerd.
It's called preparation. Do it once in a while. All right. So I brought up that I was going to bring up the Buccaneers passing game. Why? Because their offensive coordinator last year is now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. 2 years ago in 2022, Dave Canellis was the OC of the Seattle Seahawks. 4,282 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, QB 6 on the year. Geno Smith. Last year, he was QB 19. Last year, Baker Mayfield, 4,044 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, QB 9. Bryce Young last year, 2,877 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Yes, Jordan, I feel that disgust. I truly do. But Jamie can attest, I was not on the Bryce Young hype last year. I thought CJ was number 1, not Bryce. However, with having a quarterback guy, I'm not saying Bryce Young is going to be a top 10 guy. I don't think he'll be a top 10 guy. Could he be a top 10 guy in a couple years if Canales does it right? Possibly. He's going to go – last year he ended up at QB 23. I do think he's going to be around 15 to 18 this year. That's not a massive improvement. I mean, it's a jump. Superflex, I am comfortable having him as – like if you have to go heavy and you don't go too elite quarterback, I think he could be your QB2. The other thing I want to bring up about this team is last year he had 527 attempts at passing. Between the 2 years, Canales averages 598 in those last 2 years, including Geno and Baker. And that's with a run-heavy coach in Pete Carroll, even though he was running the offense. So I think he's going to throw more. He needs to get that completion percentage up for 100% sure. Absolutely needs to get the completion percentage up. Reggie, am I crazy for wanting to be in a little bit more on Bryce Young with the new head coach situation?
Not necessarily where you can get him and you can plan for taking him, even especially if he's like your QB3. I haven't necessarily been on him, but if you're not relying on him, why not?
Jordan.
Yeah, I agree. I think also, like, regardless of his coach, I think, guys just get a little bit better just with experience. But I think, like you said, Dave Canales going there and having his hands in the offense and Bryce's development, I think will do something for him. I think he'll be better. I am more open to taking him in like 2 QB leagues and whatnot, just to take a chance on him. Because, I mean, he was a number 1 overall pick for a reason. It's only been 1 year. I'm not ready to give up on him completely yet. And they've gotten weapons for him. So, I'm willing to take a chance on him.
Jamie?
Yeah, no, I like your take. I think we talked about it before that we think he could be in that 15 range with Canales. And I also think Leggett is going to help him get there. I believe he was like 3.5, almost 4 deep ball attempts per game, but he only completed like one of them per game. Like it was like a 22% completion deep ball percentage. But now that he has Leggett, someone that can actually go up and get the ball, come down with it, I think that'll increase, and then it'll definitely put up bigger numbers for Bryce Young.
It's kind of hard when you got to take a 14-step drop because you can't see over the line.
Yeah, because he's 5'5". Yeah. I mean, he's only 23. He could get another growth spurt, right?
Oh, come on. The other thing I want to bring up about Carolina, and you started bringing it up about Jordan, you started bringing up about having weapons, and Jamie, you brought it up about Leggett. Deontay Johnson has averaged 128 targets his entire career, but he averaged 140 plus targets the last 3 seasons before 2023, which was injury shortened. So 2021 and 22, he averaged 140 plus targets. Old man Adam Thielen had 103 receptions. With Leggett, with Deontay Johnson, I think that they're not big guys. When I say this, I am not saying Leggett is Mike Evans. That's not what I'm saying, people. So do not put that in my mouth. I'm just saying he's the big body type. Deontay is the body type like Godwin. I think they're going to use Deontay as a target monster, have Thielen as the third in the priority, because let's be real, they do not have a tight end that can catch. I mean, Jamie probably plays wiffle ball at 3 a.m. better than their tight ends play football. Okay? Jamie, real quick around the horn. What do you think besides Leggett? What do you think about Deontay and Thielen in the new system?
I love Deontay. He's going criminally late in drafts, and I think he could put up what Adam Thielen did last year, almost for the whole year. So that, I mean, that's top 10, top 15 numbers.
I'm not as high on him.
I knew it. I knew it.
I'm not as high on him just because, one, I've been kind of worried about Bryson, the touchdown potential for this offense. And then two, like, they still have Jonathan Mingo. They have a bunch of other people in the offense. You know, I don't know. Like, I just see Bryce maybe spreading around. Thielen is still there. He developed the chemistry with Thielen. Like, I don't know what to expect out of this offense in terms of where the targets go. And, like, I'm just not – Deontay has never been somebody that I've been excited about, even with the 140 targets. He just never really does that much with them to me, for me to be excited about him going with a guy who we're not sure if he's even any good right now.
Reggie, will you please tell Jordan why he's wrong? Because I know you're not.
You know I'm not, right?
I know you're not. That's why I said it.
And I think it's been slept on because, and we're talking about, like, we're on the Titans, right?
No, we're on Deontay Johnson.
Oh, I jumped one. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, man, Riverwalk, like Adam Thielen was like a top 10 wide receiver the first 6 weeks of the season. Oh, I'm buying Panthers DJ all day. I think I have too much now, but so that boat has sailed. But I love a 27-year-old wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. He can give me more than 1 year, especially in Dynasty and in redraft. He's forgotten about, and he earns targets. Sorry about that.
Oh, he earns targets, but, like, man, what he doing with them?
We'll see. Hey, we're going to mark this down, and we'll talk at the end of the year.
Yeah, this is going to be like Joe Mixon last year.
Yeah, it is. There's been a few of them, okay? Yeah. Like the Bears winning the division last year, right? Yeah. Yes, that was me. Jamie, speaking of the Titans, what do you want to talk about those rascally Titans?
Yeah, I want to talk about their passing attack. I think it's being slept on. None of their receivers are going early in drafts. Their quarterbacks not even being drafted in most of the drafts.
Because he's got a Mayo cologne.
I mean, he had a rocky season. Will Levis, he needs to step it up this year. We know he has a cannon of an arm. It's just that accuracy and decision making is going to be key. He needs to improve on that. But now, I mean, he has a year of experience under his belt. So we need to see him take more control of that offense, especially with the weapons that they have now. Like, I'm expecting them to throw the ball over 700 attempts. That seems high, right? But the way they beefed up that offense and that secondary too, they're expecting to score a lot of points. And how do you do that? You got to do it through the air. Like, they got Ridley. Ridley's a dynamic receiver. He can stretch that field, make some big plays. He should give Levis like a reliable target down the field, and like, we know he can create separation and get yards after the catch. And then you got old man Hopkins. I know he's getting a little bit older, but he's still one of the league's most like dynamic possession receivers out there. Like, he's the guy who can make those tough catches in traffic. He's likely going to be Levis's go-to target, especially on like third downs and in the red zone. Like Hopkins got great route running, reliable hands. I mean, we all know this. He's been in the league for 30 years. But yeah, plus that veteran presence on the team, I think it's going to help him develop Levis a little bit. So like Ridley, I believe, is going wide receiver 36. Hopkins is going right at a little bit after him at like wide receiver 40. I think they both can have values. You don't want both of them on the team, especially in that going around the same area. But I've seen Hopkins go even later now that he's got that current injury. People are scared off of him, but he should be back on week 1. I got shares of both of these guys late in drafts, and I think it'll pay off because you're going to get top 20 numbers occasionally out of them, and you're getting them as like wide receiver 40. So as your fourth receiver, I'm good with getting either Ridley or Hopkins.
Jordan, he was starting to make a case, and then he kept going like a wave. So what do you think about the Titans?
So if I told you guys that there was a quarterback who had a strong arm, but he struggled with accuracy and decision making, I just thought that you were right. But it's just funny to hear like one of the two most important things as a quarterback Will Levis struggles with. But anyway,
But so did Josh Allen his rookie year.
yeah, that's true. But Stephon Diggs helped with that. I don't think Ridley is Diggs at this point in his career. But I do think that the Titans receiving game is being slept on. I was one of the people who were sleeping on for a while, but I started to come around on Levis, honestly, because he showed flashes last year in some of those games. And like Derrick Henry being gone to me, kind of just Derrick Henry being gone, coupled with the additions on offense at receiver, particularly, obviously showing a shift in philosophy. So they're going to put it in Levis's hands a little bit more, and the values for these guys right now are really good. Yeah, I'd take a chance on one of them for sure, because I think Hopkins is hurt right now. They're saying he's probably going to be ready, but Ridley is my favorite out of them. But I wouldn't mind getting old man Hopkins at his price.
Reggie, what do you think about this?
I've been all over the Levis and the Titans and their pass and attack being consolidated right now because of the PCL knee injury from Hopkins that was suffered. So that's going to open up to a rising Ridley. I like the running back situation. I like the offensive line situation. I'm heavily bought into Levis, so I'm hoping that this offense can reconstruct itself in the post Derrick Henry age.
All right, so I want to bring a couple things up real quick, and then I'm going to let Jamie talk about his second take real quick. Jamie, what was that number that you said they're going to pass it this year?
I'd say over 700.
Did you know not a single team did that last year? The highest last year was 636 by the Washington Commanders, and the Titans had 494. Yes, they're going to throw it more, but not a single team didn't even throw the ball 650 times last year, Jamie.
Well, they're going to throw it 720 this year.
Okay. I was all on board with you until you threw that out, and I'm like, oh, I know that's wrong because I knew there was a number that was not right. However, there's a player that none of you have brought up about the passing game, and I'm glad none of you did because I drafted him in a couple leagues, and I think I drafted him in a league that I'm in with Jamie while I was standing next to him. I don't remember if it was that league or not. That is the tight end, Chig Okonkwo. Give me Chig as that value backup tight end if you go early, or if you don't go tight end and you want to just take a couple darts, go Pat Fry, go freaking Chig, do something like that. I'm perfectly okay with it. Okay, Jamie, there is a position on the Titans that has a veteran that Jordan is still upset about, and a second-year player that I'm still upset about because I thought he was going to overtake this team until they signed the veteran. So what position is it? Who are the two players that me and Jordan are still upset about from 2023?
Yeah, it's the running back duo. So Pollard, I think he's going around RB 27 right now. Spears is going RB 30. So just like we talked about last week with Zach Moss and Chase Brown, like Tony Pollard and Spears are sitting in that same ADP range. Pollard, I mean, we've seen him be explosive. He's versatile. But when he had that increased workload last season, we saw his efficiency dip. But it is worth noting that he was coming off of an injury last year, so I don't think we fully accounted for that. I know, Jordan, you had a hot take. He was, RB5? I actually agreed with it. Like, I was drafting him in early second round, I believe, right?
We all agreed with him. That was the bad part. We all agreed that Pollard was going to be the man.
So yeah, like now he's a year removed from that injury. It might look a little bit different this year. Like as for Spears, I mean, we've seen flashes, but it's not consistent. Like he had like a top 10 game with like 30% snap share, but then he also had like a RB40 game with like a 50% snap share. So like the problem is like it's going to be tough predicting when those big games will happen for Spears. So I'm more of on the Pollard side this year at the value, but both of these guys, they do have potential to like outperform that top 30 draft capital. The end of the year, I could see them being in like the top 25 maybe. So it's not a big increase. But yeah, so what do you guys think about the running backs in this compared to what we talked about last week with Moss and Chase?
Reggie, why don't you go first?
Well, I love the chemistry and we're on the running backs, right?
Yeah, Pollard and
Yeah.
Spears.
I love I've been kind of like waiting for a certain subject that's coming up next. You can see I keep rushing. But I like the dynamic that's to be had here. They both look good. They both bring something similar to the table, but they have a different age set. We all know about the cartilage and Spears knees and aforementioned Jay Ajayi's and other players that had this anomaly where it just doesn't exist. Oh, it's just who do you take and who do you take first? They're switched. They're flip flopping at this point, and it's hard to get them both now.
Mhm.
But I think they're gonna catch passes. They can coexist, just like possibly make each other better if that's possible, like a Montgomery Gibbs. They make each other better. I think we all would love Gibbs to get all the work in that offense, but it's not a addition by subtraction. And I think and I hope Tajay Spears and Pollard can coexist and be great for all our fantasy teams because you can't really get them both.
Yeah, the one thing I liked is with Pollard when he was with Zeke, he was getting like 50% of the snaps, 30 to 50, and he was putting up top 12 numbers back in 2022.
Yeah, I agree. I think they can complement each other well. I think Pollard will get most of like the handoff touches. The receptions will be a little bit more dispersed. I can see Spears being more of like a third downish type of guy. But yeah, I think they work together well. You can't really get them both because they're so close together. A lot of people, a lot of rankings have them like within 3 to 4 spots of each other. So obviously in Dynasty you want Spears over Pollard, but um, yeah, I think the Titans offense as a whole, man, I think is going to be better than people anticipated, and you think about the slog that it was the last several years in the passing game, and like people forget that like they've drafted a quarterback, they have new coaching staffs and all that. So I think it'll be vastly improved and have a completely different look. I'm keeping it in the obviously in the AFC South. This has been something that I've been struggling with, as have a lot of people. I've seen a lot of conversations about the three receivers in Houston. Um, who do you want? I mean, there's Nico Collins, obviously. He gets a contract. It's what 72 million, 52 million guaranteed. He gets a new deal after performing at a high level. The Texans already were balling with Tank Dell and Nico Collins. Then they trade for Stephon Diggs, who I still think is a stud, but a lot of people think he's fallen off a little bit. So now we have three guys. I mean, I've been struggling with this. I think I've kind of settled on Nico being the number one. because I mean, I just feel like they invested the most in him. He's performed. CJ trust him. They have that wavelength. And then after that, uh, I think Diggs will kind of cut into what Tank was or is. Obviously Tank is more the electric player, long touchdowns and stuff like that. And right now they're going Nico at wide receiver 14, Diggs at wide receiver 19, and Tank at wide receiver 29. So Tank to me has the best value. But I always find myself. So it looks like I've been drafting Diggs and Collins a little bit, no Tank, but I think now the way that the values are turning out, I'm gonna probably be skipping over Diggs and just getting Tank because he's the cheapest, and then probably Nico because he'll be the best. What do you guys think about the wide receiver trio? Who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite? How are y'all kind of navigating that situation?
For me, I like getting none of them. I don't mind getting none of them. Like if I had to choose, it would be Tank because of his value. But I did take my first share of Diggs this weekend. My first share ever this whole year. It was he fell to the 5th round. I couldn't pass that up in the 5th round. I've seen him go in the 3rd. But when he was there at the 5th, I was sitting next to a best ball guru that does his best ball show, Justin Bruni. And I showed him, I'm like, who should I go here? He was like, Diggs in the 5th? Like, get that. So I pushed the button on him. I trust him. And I'm probably going to start targeting him more if he keeps falling to the 5th round. Because that's where Tank should go.
What about
I've
you?
been more vibing with Tank, and I've been staying away recently because it's just you hear reports Diggs is doing good. You think Stroud loves Dale. It's just so messy.
Yeah, it is. It is. What about you, Mike?
I disagree because I don't think. No, me, Reggie, you, me, and Jamie were on on Jeff's show. Two of the names were brought up as busts or whatever. I can't remember the category, whatever it was. The more and more I think about it, I don't think it's messy anymore, Jordan. But it is risky to say what I'm about to say. To me, and I get your point, Jamie. I agree with you about Bruni. If Bruni's telling me anything, I'm trusting Bruni. I've known Bruni for years. I'm trusting that guy. Anything he tells me. However, I'm taking Collins and Dell before I'm taking Diggs, and it's not even close for me anymore. I just have this weird feeling that Diggs is like, I think people are going to double team him. I think he might be that guy that gives the other guys the targets because of it. Reggie, you just brought it up. There's all this stuff going on that Stroud just loves Dell, this and that. They're not going to pay Collins what they paid Collins just to sit on the pine pony. I think that they got Diggs, knowing they have the offense that they got, knowing that they got the strong defense that they got to try to win it this year and this year only. Not this year only, but they're going for it. I don't think that Diggs is going to be on the team in the future. I didn't think that was going to be the case 4 or 5 months ago, but when they extended Collins, it changed my tune on it because Jamie knows, I wrote a rookie profile on Collins. I loved Nico Collins coming out. I don't know why I like the freaking Michigan wide receivers, even though they don't throw the ball. I like Nico Collins. I wrote an article on him. I wrote an article on DPJ. I like Roman Wilson. I like Nico, but I did not, around draft time, I told Jamie he is not going to be on the team in 2025, and it bums me out. Now that he signed the extension, I think they're going for it. Good foot, just like it was brought up at the expo about certain players. Good football doesn't mean fantasy football, and that's what I think Diggs is going to do for the team. Reggie? Oh, no, wait. We have time real quick. Jordan, bring up your second point, please.
And this is going to be simple. Joe Mixon time in Houston, man. He's balling this year. Got the contract. Damian Pierce sucks, obviously. A great offense, touchdown potential. Mixon to the moon. That's it. I'm done.
All right, I have something. I'm going first, and then I'll throw it to you guys. You want to know how bad Damian Pierce sucks? They signed Cam Akers. Joe Mixon, baby. Let's roll. Jamie, do you want to say anything about Joe Mixon real quick?
Joe Mixon, it's not a hot take, but definitely top 12. Grab him as 12th receiver. I'll take him as my number one.
Well, I'm not taking him as a receiver, but I'll take him as a
Running back.
Reggie, you're up, buddy.
I like him. I think Cam Akers was a camp body. I am still holding out hope that Damian Pierce is more than just a Jag.
All right. Speaking of Jags, talk about the Jags, baby.
Nice segue.
Yeah. We try sometimes. Never mind. But I got a question for everybody, and this is less than a take than how we feel. What's the temperature about here? And will the RB2 on Jacksonville matter this year? We all know. I don't think for a single week it mattered last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie. I know you got it on the back of your hand somewhere, but I just
Bisbee was not a thing.
Tank Bisbee was not a thing. Looked serviceable in limited preseason, whatever that stands for. I've seen people picking up this Dearness Johnson. Can you name another running back there? Do we find something behind Travis Etienne in this offense? Is a genuine question. Let me get my notepad out because I'm Jamie. I know you know something. You got something for us, right?
Well, before Jamie goes, the depth chart goes Etienne, Bigsby, Dearness Johnson, Kellen Robinson, a 5th-round pick, and Jalen Jackson.
So I think Bigsby and Dearness Johnson, they're similar with their 2.5 yards per carry. What is that going to do for fantasy, right? So I want nothing to do. I don't even think they hit like 100 yards last year, 150 yards each. So I don't want nothing to do with them.
Facts. Nobody. Obviously, barring injury, but as far as just having standalone value or anybody caring who the backup is to Etienne, no,
nobody. Unless they bring in someone, which I don't know who's left out there. Kareem Hunt. Maybe that could be a thing.
If there's an injury, if there's an injury, I could see it happening because he does play that, he can play that role. Here's what I want to – I agree. I don't need to add really much to the argument. 17 games, 50 rush attempts, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns.
That was Bigsby?
That was Bigsby's stat line. Reggie, did you have another one you wanted to talk about, or are you good?
I think I'm good. I don't want to get booed off the stage. No, I wasn't as prepared this week as I have been for every single week prior to this. I want to apologize to you guys.
I just saw what you were going to put. This is going to cause a debate. You have to talk.
Yes,
about it.
let's do it.
All right.
Me and Jamie are going at it. Let's go.
Oh, is it Mac Jones? No.
No. So my number 2 is the debate of who you with is what I want to ask everybody. BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. had some bad tape. We talked previously about that, and I don't think I have a single share in 34 teams. I'm buying into Kirk, and I've had some Gabe. So keep trade cut. BTJ, can we play that? Is that a fair one?
That's fair.
That's easy.
Okay. Keep trade cut.
We'll go that way.
BTJ, Kirk, or Gabe?
Keep Kirk, trade BTJ, cut Gabe.
Yeah,
Jamie?
same. That's easy for me. Same. Just throw Gabe Davis in the trash.
All right, so I'm gonna spice this up because I completely agree. This is a top row battle. BT because Jordan already knows where this is going. BTJ or Christian Kirk, Jamie?
I'm taking Christian Kirk. I just like it that he's going to get all the possession PPR points. Brian Thomas is going to fight for targets with Gabe Davis. So
okay, who do you want in Dynasty?
I'll take. Oh, geez. Right now, if I want to win now,
right?
Well, it depends. If I'm in a win now situation, I'm taking Kirk. If I'm in a complete rebuild, I'll take Brian Thomas Jr.
Did you go to the betting? Did you go to the betting stage where they talked about hedging your bets?
Yeah,
that's what you're freaking doing. All right, I'm going to the next one because I'm just going to boo him off the stage. I'm not booing Reggie. I'm booing freaking Jamie off the stage. All right, so I got a couple quick ones I'm going to bring up. Actually, before we do that, we're going to take a little bit of a breather. No, we'll do that. We'll do that next. All right, so one is a quick one and one I want to talk a little more about. I know we're running already a little bit late. I just want to make sure I have it right. Okay. Another injury that happened that I did not discuss was Josh Downs going down. They're saying he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. He didn't have a great rookie year. I watched bits and pieces of A.D. Mitchell, the first game of this preseason. There was people saying it was Jamie. How do I say it? He was one of those guys you're either all in or all out on in pre-draft hype. You either liked A.D. Mitchell or you didn't.
Nope.
Give me all the A.D. Mitchell. He's going to end up being the WR2 on this team. He's going to have a fantasy relevant season as a rookie. I think he's going to take this from Josh Downs. Is it going to be a heavy pass offense? No, because you still have, Rich AR-15 is going to run the ball. He's going to get the ball to Pittman. Hint, hint, AR-15 will be on the Bull Prediction Show. And then you still got Jonathan Taylor. You still got the 8 tight ends that Jamie likes because they all have good athletic profiles. But you got A.D. Mitchell, who I think is going to end up being the number 2. And the one that's going to end up, if Josh Downs can come back healthy, the one that's going to be out is Phillips. Or not Kyle Phillips. Kyle Phillips is Tennessee. Adam Pierce. Yeah. Jamie, am I wrong or am I right?
I think you're right. I'm still drafting Downs because I think if he's on the field, he's going to be the second target for receivers. I'm not an A.D. Mitchell fan. I got 0 shares of him. Dynasty, don't even look at him in redraft. But what's interesting is when Downs is going to be off the field, I was on Jelani Woods, but now Jelani Woods is not even playing in preseason. So I might have to switch it over to Kyle Granson. I'm still kind of conflicted on that one.
Jordan, what do you think about Indianapolis?
Profiles of the tight ends. I'm interested in Mitchell now. I wasn't before. This Downs injury changes it a little bit. He's going to be the second target. Like Jamie mentioned, there are some tight ends. There's multiple tight ends, honestly, that they may use a little bit. But I'm also kind of the same hesitation I have with Bryce is kind of some of the hesitation I have with Richardson. I mean, I know he was hurt last year, but we still don't know exactly if he's really a good passer and if that aspect of his game has developed completely yet. Will he be like a Lamar the first couple of years where it's like one guy who's good and then the other guys is kind of sprinkled out week to week? So I'm not completely sold on Mitchell, but I'd take a chance on him now that Downs is hurt. And he'll definitely take that job if given those opportunities.
Yeah, Reggie, what do you think about the Colts?
I think the Colts is going to be just fine. That division is to be had. Um, as long as Anthony Richardson can stay upright. I mean, we didn't see the entirety of this offense and what it could be. Downs is hurt now. Um, Adonai Mitchell, is that his name?
Yeah.
Is he getting slow out the gate? Michael Pittman to the moon. We seem to forget how high he finished last year, and he's being flat out disrespected because of the lack of touchdowns. But he's important to your fantasy football team.
Well, no, I think
The
Pittman's going to be fine.
perplexing
I'm
thing
just
is the
going off
tight
of
end,
two.
but we're talking about wide receivers. That's
Yeah.
the new problem for me.
Yeah, I like Pittman. I'm curious who's going to end up being the two. Pittman solidified as the number one. Jamie, are you ready? Yeah, go Jordan.
Pittman is wide receiver 17 in ADP over Cooper Kupp, Diggs, Waddle, Metcalf. Do y'all like him more than those guys?
No, I'd rather have DK, I think.
I'd rather have DK.
For sure. For sure.
Waddle over
I'd rather have
Pittman.
Kupp too.
Waddle's that you okay? Jordan and Jamie, you both know how I love Waddle. I know Reggie's a Dolphins fan, but Reggie wasn't here earlier in his first couple of his years. So I was all in on Waddle. Jamie, you know that. Jordan, you both know that. But there's just something about that offense with Waddle that scares me that I'm going to be wrong on Waddle. And I don't like it because my shares of Waddle are very, very high. Jamie, are you ready to do some work?
Yeah, and then after that, we got a question in the chat.
I already saw that. I got it set up. Let's see here. Today's show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check out their industry-leading best ball leagues with huge tournaments, private leagues, and pick'ems for every major sport. Sign up with our promo code GF2, and you will get up to $250 in bonus cash. It's as simple as that. Sign up, use promo code GF2, and you can start drafting your best ball teams now. There's pick'ems, higher, lowers, all that. And if you're drafting a best ball team between now and September 4th, there's a 65.77% chance that Jamie's in that league. Yeah, that guy, right? That guy, right? There. All right, so I will put it up, Jamie. So,
all right, and this is a one quarterback, two running backs, two receivers.
I'm gonna put it up, Jamie.
All right.
I'm in a 12-man half PPR league. Picks 2, 4, and 5 are taken. I am next. Which pick should I choose? And here are his roster: 1 QB, 2 RBs, 2 WRs, 1 tight end, and 2 regular flex. So it's a start 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, I'm going to let you kick it off.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I definitely want to target the top running back in this league. CMC is going to go 1 probably or 2. I'm assuming Lamb or Hill's going to go next. I am going to want either Brees or Bijan, especially in a start 2 receiver. So I'm going after that top running back.
No, he gets to pick a spot.
I know. So I will go with number 3 so I can guarantee that running back at that spot because you're going to get one of the top 3 running backs.
Jordan.
1 or 3, but I guess I'm thinking about what he can get on the way back, and it's only 2 picks, so I would go with probably 3, 2.
Yeah, because you're gonna like the receivers that come back next round.
Oh yeah,
over the running backs that fall to you. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but you could go 1 and get CMC, and then
that was where I was leaning.
Oh, that's all.
At the expo, I was listening to a panel, and they were saying when you have the 101, you're drafting a player at his absolute ceiling. He has to hit that number 1 player.
But I agree. I agree with that same connotation at 103.
Or just take which one is left.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but I'm just saying 101 and 103, you still need them to hit. Otherwise, your team is still not going to hit. Reggie, what do you think?
I think whatever your flavor is, you got to go with it.
Yeah, because you guys, I mean, Jamie's gonna hate what I was about to say.
I mean, anything 1 to 8. I love 1 to 8. I'll just take one of the top 8 guys. But in this format, I want the running back.
I hate 9 to 12.
Yes.
I hate the back end of the first round because I don't really like any of those guys as first round picks. But 1 to 8, like Jamie said, I think it's prime positions.
Go, Rich.
I think like this year, like maybe you say 2, 4, and 5 are taken. 6 and 7 is sweet because you don't get caught in a run. And like you can't really trade back like you can from the upper top picks, but 6 and 7, you can kind of on the ends, you can get caught behind something. In the middle, you can kind of pick your path. You kind of are forced on the path sometimes in draft, picking on the other side of 6 or on the other side of 7, 8.
I want 1 or 6
That's
for
fair.
that same. Here's the thing: if you want, I'm also the type to either goes lately to go 0 or hero. If I'm gonna go hero, I'm going 1, take McCaffrey and go for it. If I'm going 6, I'll go wide receiver, take whatever the wide receivers left, unless one of those 3 were to fall to me. Because there is a chance that one of those 3 could fall to you at 6. And then I would take that.
This is only a start 7. So I would be comfortable going RB because the receiver pool is so much deeper than that running back pool. So if I go like RB, running back, RB, like I want 2 RBs and 1 receiver, maybe my first 3 picks. So I could end up with Bijan, Derrick Henry, and Mike Evans.
And it is half PPR. So like at 6 or 7, you can get. I mean, I guess sometimes Justin Jefferson is there at 6.
I've got him at 8.
Oh, yeah.
Like the first 8 is what CMC, Brees Hall, Bijan,
Lamb,
Hill,
St. Brown,
St.
Jefferson,
Brown,
Chase.
So if you,
Yep.
just for giggles, half point PPR. I'm just looking at Fantasy Pro ZCR, so I know it's not perfect. CMC, CD, Tyreek, Chase, Bijan at 5, Bijan or Brees at 5, Bijan at 6, Jefferson 7, ARSB at 8.
Yeah, if you think you can get a running back at 6, I would do that. But if this is a home league, I just have a feeling people are going to go running back early. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the draft panel on Sunday, I don't think 3 running backs made it to 6.
No. That was also full, yeah. That was a 2-2, I think.
Don't overthink it. You're getting a stud.
Yeah, don't over. Yeah, that's a lot. Picking your pick is not what you should overthink.
Mm-hmm.
Let the draft come to you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm good with 1, 3, or 6.
Yeah. Sometimes I like the back end of the draft, but it just depends on the league and what's going on with it.
I don't like it. No.
I love the back end unless I can get if it's Derby. What sucks is if I can pick 1, 2, or 3, I'm picking it. And I prefer 2 or 3 because I'm trading out of that pick. But sometimes I get up there and I can't get my deal. Excuse me for saying this. There's some suckers that will give me a 3rd, a 4th, a 6th, and a 25 second. And I've gotten deals done. I'm like, damn, you went for that? But if you get that pick and everybody is sharp, I hate it. I'm just stuck.
Well, this guy
Hope
is
that was
sharp.
allowed.
Your
'Cause
question.
sometimes
This
I
guy
come
is
out.
sharp. This guy
Yep.
is sharp.
Man.
This guy say is sharp.
Have you heard the deal that I could show you guys after some of the deals I've been in? I hate the guy like me. I don't do it in leagues like commish, but if I get these to go, sorry,
I need to
problem.
I need to take some notes. So yeah, you're gonna have to show me that because I need to start doing that too.
Jamie knows
Man.
there was a trade offer that I got that people were like, "Oh, you're mean for accepting it." I go, "It was in my inbox." Who was that, Jamie? Was it? It was Devon. Was it Devon? No, was it Kendrick Bourne or Devonta Parker? I'll look it up when we're done.
Crazy.
But it was a
It
bad
was
trade.
Bourne. I
It
think
was
it was
not
Bourne.
my. And
Bro,
I gave
worse?
him no. Oh no, worse.
Oh,
Dude, it was
I'll tell you
crazy.
after. All right. So we are at the 1 hour and 20-minute mark. It was a long show, but it was a good show. Let's throw it around the horn. I know Jordan and Jamie need to start getting ready for bed because I would after being on the East Coast for 3 days. I know how they feel now. Throw it around the horn. Reggie, why don't you start it?
I just want to say we are so much closer to getting there, and apologize for not being on my stuff this week. I
you're
don't
good.
know
Trust
what
me.
it is, but you guys are getting back from traveling, and we got football so close. And I just want you guys to make sure you just tell your loved ones that you love them. You hug them if you're in their physical presence, because none of us is promised tomorrow. Not to bring anything down, because we're all going to see each other next week, same time, same place. Going for 2 live. Check out the Discord.
Yeah, same. Catch me next week. I'll be here ready to talk some football, get into some arguments with Jamie probably about Jacoby Brissett. But yeah, I'll be back.
Oh man, yeah, we'll have some Jacoby Brissett debates for sure. But yeah, follow me, Jamie Perogue, right here on the cheat sheet every Tuesday. Check out my articles at the Fantasy Six Pack. I do some IDP stuff over there, and then I think we're going to be getting ready for the start sits because the weekends are going to be popping up for regular football week 1.
Okay, now that everyone's done theirs, I got to bring something up because I did get scared. I didn't bring it up to you, Jamie, but I did get scared this weekend. Jordan, do you remember what number aforementioned quarterback wore for the Cleveland Browns?
No, I do not.
It was number 7. I walk up to Jamie, and this guy is wearing a number 7 Cleveland Brown jersey. And for a second, I thought it was Brissett.
Nope.
But it was Perogue. I got so lucky. I didn't bring it up. I'm all, please don't tell me that's a Brissett jersey. I will literally remove this from his body while we're hanging out. All right, everyone. It was a great show. You know where to find me. Drop to Mike FF. Like I've always said, if you need a graphic or anything, Jamie and Jordan and Reggie can all attest. Hit me up. Other than that, you can find me on Tuesday nights